So, what if I told you that the next big shakeup in the corporate world won't come from some Wall Street titan, but from a line of code? We're talking about artificial intelligence not just being a tool, but being the one in charge. Let's dive right in. And no, that is not the pitch for a new sci-fi movie. It's a fact. As of last year, a humanoid robot is officially the chief executive officer of a company. So the big question is this whole thing just a wild science fiction story? Or is it a very real glimpse into the future of leadership? Let's try and figure that out. Okay, let's start with the most striking, most futuristic example of this, the new CEO. So this is Mika. In 2023, the Polish luxury brand Dictator officially appointed her as their CEO. I mean, think about it. She's entirely data-driven, she's always on, and according to the company, she's completely free of any personal bias. But here's the thing. Mika isn't just some one-off curiosity. She's actually the culmination of a trend that's been building for over a decade. To really get how we ended up with a robot CEO, we've got to look back a bit. This idea of an algorithm having a real seat at the table has been slowly but surely becoming a reality for years. The journey from a simple piece of code to a full-on humanoid leader has been a pretty clear, measurable progression. Let's just look at the timeline. It really kicked off back in 2014 when an investment algorithm named Vital got an actual board seat in Hong Kong. Just a year later, the World Economic Forum predicted this would be a common thing by 2026. Then, in 2016, we got Alicia T, the first AI manager in a publicly traded company. Each of these steps brought us closer and closer to Mika in 2023. The future, it seems, is arriving way ahead of schedule. So we've covered the who and the when. But the really big question, the one that probably popped into your head, is how? How does an AI actually help run a massive, incredibly complex company? Let's get into the tech. It turns out there are two main paths companies are taking to make this happen. On one hand, you have these things called digital command centers. Think of it like a single, all-seeing eye that's watching the entire organization, processing everything in real time. Then, on the other hand, you have a more modular approach, using specialized AIs for really specific board-level jobs, like, say, choosing new directors for the company. And this isn't just theory, right? Take a look at the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC. They run on a system called Panorama. It's a real-world digital command center that is constantly pulling data from over 10 million sensors. It uses AI and other cool tech like digital twins, which are basically exact virtual copies of physical equipment, and blockchain to make its recommendations. This really shows you the sheer power of this approach. $60 billion. That's the annual revenue of the company that takes strategic advice from the Panorama system. So yeah, this isn't some small-scale experiment. This is AI contributing to one of the biggest enterprises on the entire planet. And with that much power and money on the line, the stakes get incredibly high. Which, of course, brings us to this central challenge. If we're giving AI this much authority, how do we control it? How do we make sure that our new digital leaders are fair, that they're ethical, and that they're accountable? You know, the biggest hurdle here is something called the black box problem. Imagine this. The AI gives you a brilliant, game-changing recommendation, but when you ask it why it made that choice, you might just get digital silence. Its logic can be so complex that it's literally unexplainable, even to the humans who built it. So how do you hold a decision maker accountable when you can't even understand their reasoning? And what's happening inside that black box can get, well, pretty messy. An AI is only as good as the data you feed it. So step one, if your historical data is full of old prejudices, the AI learns them. Step two, during its training, it might start connecting dots in ways that reflect those biases. And of course, step three, the people writing the code can accidentally build in their own blind spots. So naturally, regulators are trying to catch up. The main goal is to make AI transparent, explainable, and accountable. The EU's new AI Act, for example, is creating a right to explanation. And this isn't even a new idea. Way back in the 1970s, the US passed a law that says if you get denied credit, they have to give you a clear reason why, a law that has basically prevented credit companies from using black box algorithms for decades. But the challenges go way beyond just regulations. They touch on these really deep social and ethical nerves. When the robot Sophia was granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia, it sparked this huge debate, which was perfectly summed up by the question on a lot of people's minds. It just goes to show that as these AIs become more human-like, they force us to confront some really uncomfortable questions about our own societies. So, with all these incredible challenges, what does the future actually hold? How do we build a world where humans and AI can govern together effectively? Well, the answer might lie in a pretty radical new approach. The proposed solution is to just stop trying to make AI think like a human. Instead, you create two different sets of rules. One set for the human directors, which is based on things like ethics and intuition, and a separate parallel rulebook for the AI directors, based purely on measurable data it can actually understand. And this gives us a fascinating new way to think about management itself. The traditional board, right, a group of people making decisions together, is being mirrored by these huge, intelligent systems like Panorama. Meanwhile, the role of the individual leader, the CEO, is being mirrored by androids like Mika. It's almost like the very structure of leadership is evolving to match the technology we're creating. All of this points toward a concept you've probably heard of, the technological singularity. The idea is that as AI gets better at running companies, those companies get more efficient and more profitable. That gives them more resources to build, you guessed it, even better AI. It's this feedback loop where intelligence creates more intelligence, and it just keeps accelerating. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. In a world where an algorithm can make objectively better strategic decisions than any human, what is our role? What is the purpose of a human leader? That is something we are all going to have to answer, and probably a lot sooner than we think.